vavatu sahano bhunaktu saha viryam karavavahai tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Verses 6 to 10, please.
Dvau bhuta sargau lokesmin daiva asura eva cha daivo vistarashah proktah asuram partha me shrunu pravrittim cha nivrittim cha janana vidurasuraha na shaucham napi chacharah na satyam teshu vidyate asatyam apratishtham te jagadahuranishwaram aparaspara sambhutam kimanyat kamahaitukam etam drishtim avashtabhya nashtatmanolpabuddhayah prabhavantyugrakarmanah kshayaya jagato hitaha kamamashritya dushpuram dambhamanamadhanvitaha mohat grihitva satgrahan pravartante shuchivrataha.
To understand the importance of the study, we need to take a serious look at our own selves. There are some basic questions we need to ask ourselves. For example, we are all born into this world. We live our lives here. We have our own little experiences in life. You have a family, you have a business or profession, a livelihood. You work tirelessly for your own near and dear ones, take care of them. So much that you do through your life. But we all must try and see beyond this routine that we have set for ourselves. What is the purpose of life? It's a very basic question. We may occasionally think about it or talk about it and forget about it. But when you take a serious look, when you are sincere in finding out the true meaning of life, then there would be a totally different vision that you develop. It's not just developing another vision. It is to know, why are we born human beings? What is so special? There must be something. See, we are not any other living being. All other creatures that live, that have life, they only go through the motions of life. Like we said yesterday, the greatest gift that every human being is born with is choice. I don't even know if we realize what a great gift that is. To have that freedom to choose anything that you want to do. So, since we have this choice in life, we ought to know how to choose, what to choose. So this purpose of life as a human is something unique. The more you realize it, or rather the sooner you realize the better will be the quality of life. Now imagine this. Imagine a boat on the waters, a large boat with a sail. You understand a sail? Now, for the boat to cruise on the waters, they have a sail, which will help the captain steer the boat along. Now, if the mast is high, I don't have a chart where I can draw, but you got to imagine what I'm trying to convey to you, because it's important. Imagine that mast that holds the sail, okay? If it is very high, tall, what do you think the boat needs to balance the weight of that mast? Anybody? It's common sense. Can anybody think? See, this again, I'm giving you a sample. This is how we learn in the academy. The constant question and answers. Because of the largeness of this group, we cannot constantly do it. But I'm giving you a taste, because when you exercise your intellect and think, that is the most important approach to the study of this literature. If you merely read, nothing will enter you, even the most brilliant person. We need to learn to exercise our thinking. It's exactly like exercising your muscles. Unless you exercise your muscles, you will not develop physical strength. Not possible. That's why they advise you, go for a walk, do exercises, do something. Otherwise it will hit you. Physically you will not be strong. Now imagine if you do not exercise your thinking. You will not be strong. You will not have clarity. And that is why it is important that you think. Doesn't matter if it's wrong. But you must make an attempt and never stop. Keep on exercising this ability to think. And you see how the quality of your life changes. All right, so coming back, there is a boat on the waters. There is a tall mast. Okay, if the mast is very tall, what do you think will happen to the boat? It'll topple, correct? So now if you need to keep the boat afloat and there is a tall mast, what do you think we need to do for the boat? Anybody?
It has to be wide and strong.
Wide and strong. Anything else? It has to have a hull. There's another word for it. Anybody knows? A keel. Have you all heard of a keel? It is in the bottom of the boat. It's a kind of, add on to the bottom of the boat with a certain weight. It balances the mast. That's all it needs. So it can be whatever size the boat, but the balance is vital for the existence of the boat on water. Is that clear to all of you? Now, please equate this. The mast that we're talking about is raising our standard of living. Better amenities, better facilities, better salaries, better remuneration, better wealth, better money, but all this is getting better and better. The mast is going taller and taller. But the bottom, the keel that is holding the boat is nothing but knowledge or sense of values. Good values. That's all you need. And it's not peculiar to us in India. It's for every human being existing on this earth. Every human being. Doesn't matter what race or religion or caste or creed or community. We are all humans first and last. It doesn't matter the color of the skin or the shape of your eye or nose. What difference does it make? We are humans, period. And to be living up to the dignity of a human, you need to have values. No other creature needs education. It's only humans. And with all the education that is available in the world, it is good to live in the world, to raise the mast. That's all the world is offering. I'm only trying to tell you why it is important to study this text, and particularly for the young, because they have a whole life ahead of them to make choices. Most of you have already made choices. Now it is difficult to change. People would say, at my age, I can't do this, I can't do that. When you can't do basic things, how is it going to be? It's like a full-grown tree. How do you shape it? A plant, you can give a direction. But a full-grown tree, you can't change the direction. It's not easy. So, these values are of greatest importance so that we balance that standard of living that is available in the world. What are we doing from morning till night? What are we doing from birth to death? We're only increasing that standard of living in very many ways. That's all we do. Nothing wrong with that. But are you balancing it with good values? That's why we need the study. Now, in 4 evenings, we can't do too much. It's only sufficient to give us a glimpse of the value of this knowledge. It's like somebody comes and demonstrates what is good physical exercises. That person has a good body. But how does it help you? Your body is the same. Unless you decide to take care of your own body for the rest of the year. Every single day, the more dedicated you are, the more you will be able to achieve physically. Same thing at the mental level. We are talking about mental fitness. That's all we're saying. Like yesterday also we saw that everybody has their challenges. Nobody is free from it. But the question is, how do you face your challenges? You should face any challenge like a sportsman takes to sport. When a sportsman goes into the field, he may be well qualified, he may be a good sportsman, yet he knows there are times he will win, there are times the opponent will win. He understands that perfectly and takes it in his stride when he fails and tells himself, I got to improve, that's all. It's a very healthy attitude. So also in life. There's so many things we will be facing throughout our lives if you have not yet faced it. So this knowledge serves like insurance. Why do you put aside certain monies when you could use it for so many things? Anything that is important, anything that is precious to you, you instantly make sure it is insured. So that should something go wrong, you will not be affected. You don't expect something to go wrong, but it is a good preparation. That's the meaning of insurance. So this knowledge works like insurance. You may be fine, you may be happy, but you can't expect that to go on. So should something go wrong, you have some solid knowledge to fall back on. You have an understanding, you have a vision which will help you sail through life no matter what the weather is, what the circumstances are around you. So we've seen how the 26 qualities of the divine, its construction is far more difficult than destruction. Destruction is so easy. Like we said, to hurt somebody, you don't need to think much. To destroy yourself is so easy. But to hold yourself on the right path and do what you think is right, you need a strong personality. So that's why we discussed the 26 qualities of the divine. Again, for those who don't remember what we said yesterday, when we use the words divine and demoniac, all that you need to understand it as positive and negative qualities. fact, the Mahabharata, there is a conflict between the Kauravas and the Pandavas. The Kauravas were 100 brothers. Pandavas were 5. Why so? You've got to ask that question. For the benefit of those who are not aware, there's a book, it's called The Symbolism of Hindu Gods and Rituals. Now, it's not about Hinduism, but what we are all familiar with. What is Ramayana? What is Mahabharata? Why does Ganesha have an elephant head? There are these questions that come up in our minds. Now, why does the lady wear a tilak? Why do we break a coconut in a temple? Now, most of you are settled in life. You follow the traditions and rituals without questions. But the youngsters, they ask questions, and you perhaps may not know. And everything that we follow in this country originally has a deep scientific significance and meaning. The moment you understand the meaning, the significance, you will be inspired. Like when you see a national flag, your hair stands on end because you understand the meaning of the national flag. If you don't understand that, there's no inspiration. Similarly, so many rituals and traditions that we have followed in this country, very faithfully, with a lot of devotion. But the young people need to know why. So coming back, a lot is explained in that book. One of it is the meaning of the Mahabharata, which is relevant here. That's why we're talking about it. So why Kauravas, so many in number? Why the Pandavas are few? It only represents what is happening within us. The negative tendencies are always many more than the positive qualities we have. Because it's so easy. You don't need tutoring. It's automatic. But when the positive qualities, though few, associate with Lord Krishna, representing the higher values of life, then you can fight and win any battle. That is the significance. So there is hope for mankind, no matter who you are, no matter what your background is or struggles are in life. If you associate with the higher values of life, you can face anything in this world with ease. So that is significant for us, and that is why these qualities are given. And now we take up the qualities to be avoided. Verse 4.
Dambho darpobhimanascha krodhah parushyameva cha ajnanam cha bhijatasya partha sampadamasurim.
So before I take this up, James Allen, I'm deliberately giving you some quotes here and there just to let you know the thinkers around the world who understood these values had the same thoughts. So it will help you. It's only not in the Bhagavad Gita or in India we have these ideas. Everywhere. But we've got to look for it. So when we share these quotations, you will appreciate that any thinker worth the name had the same thought. So I'll put this up for you. James Allen. You don't have it. It's $3.99, I think. Here you are. By the right choice, we have been talking about choice, it's so important. By the right choice and true application of thought, your sincerity, man ascends to the divine perfection. Look at the words he's using. Divine perfection. By the abuse and wrong application of thought, which we are going to be doing now, he descends below the level of the beast. British philosophical writer. It's almost identical. Now, where is the divine and demoniac? We don't know if he has studied this. But the thoughts are the same. Because these values that are discussed in the Bhagavad Gita, it may be a unique text in the Mahabharata, but what the Gita is conveying, we've got to x-ray through all the unnecessary appendages and get to the message. Never mind who you are, like we said, what race or religion, you follow whatever you want. But take up these values which will help you in life. That's all. You don't have to acknowledge the Gita if you don't want to, but take it up. Because these are the thoughts that have been discussed by thinkers across the globe. So this is one sample, a British thinker, right? So what he's saying is, if you take up the divine qualities, you become a better and better human. So when he says beast, it's not demeaning us, but a beast lives the life of a beast because it has no choice. So you can't go and argue with a snake, a poisonous cobra. Why are you? Okay, you use your poison to kill animals for yourself. But why do you hurt us? What have we done? You can't argue. Because a snake is a snake. It can't think. It will only destroy anything that comes its way. There's no thinking. A tiger, you can't take fresh meat and give it to the tiger. I got you special meat today. It will attack you first and kill you. You can't say, how can you kill your friend? I've come to help you. No human worth the name will even try to do it because he understands that is the nature of this animal. Cannot change it. So when he talks about beast, he means no other creature has a choice except a human. But it's so strange. The paradox of human life is we have a choice and don't use it. This is the problem. We do not use it because we don't understand that we have this ability to choose what we want to be. And that is the biggest tragedy of human life. So nobody, in other words, what we're saying is, nobody needs to be sorrowful, unhappy, stressed, worried, anxious. Nobody. And the fact is, everybody is. Hanta, hanta. The Upanishads only say, alas, alas. And it says in the Upanishads, iha ched avedidata satyamasti. Na ched iha vedin mahati vinashtihi. Says, if you understand these values of life and live according to these values that are given out, satyamasti, you're leading a life of satyam. Satyam means a sensible life. A life of a human being. But if you choose to ignore these values and do whatever you want to do in life, because you are free to do anything, he says, mahati vinashti. And there is no English translation for this word, but we can try to translate. Mahati vinashti means, nashti, you can understand, is loss. Vinashti means supreme loss. You can't talk as you would in English. You got to vernacularize it. Supreme loss. If you say supreme loss, you'll say what next? You got to emphasize, Vinashti. Vinashti means supreme loss. Then he uses double superlative. Mahati vinashti. There's no translation. If anybody does not live these values, it is mahati vinashti. Is anybody upset about it? Everybody is smiling when I'm talking. No, it's called the bliss of ignorance. What we are all, it's a fact. You know why we are able to go back and sleep because at home and carry on with whatever activities we are doing day in, day out, whatever you do through your life, because you have no idea what you're losing. You have no idea. Like an American who came to our academy and spent some 6 weeks. And according to him, it was a life-changing experience. Not just to be there, but to come face to face with this knowledge and understand there is this choice in life and you got so much to do, there is a purpose, there's a meaning for human life. To get to know all this was a huge change in his life. And he was all praises for his experiences there and wrote a beautiful letter to Swamiji. I'm not discussing that really. What is relevant, I'm going to tell you. After all that he had to say in the letter, he said, but at the end of the mail, of the letter, he says, but I must confess one thing, Swamiji. He wrote to Swamiji, of course. I was a very happy man until I met you. I was very happy doing, like you're all happy people. Nobody's miserable here. You're all happy people because you have no idea what you're missing. That's why these Mahatmas stayed in and lived and died in the Himalayas. Because it says no point. What is the point in coming and talking when nobody's understanding what they're saying? Maximum you will give some prasad and worship the master and go back to exactly what you're doing. Not that I am trying to change. If Christ and Krishna, Muhammad and Buddha, Mahavira could not change the world, nobody can. But you can change yourself if you wish to. That's the only possibility. So in a congregation like this, if one or two persons wake up to the fact that there is a great opportunity called life, let's not waste it. Let's take this life up. Let's make ourselves real humans, worth the name. And that comes from understanding these values and living these values. That's what we're trying to do. So coming back, what we need to avoid in verse 4, he says, Dambaha. Dambaha is ostentation, falsely stimulating virtue and making a show of it. It's a pretense. It could be anything. It could be material wealth. It could be a feeling or a display of love and affection, or that you have knowledge or spirituality. Like I told, it's not changing your garments. You could have a following. You could impress people with your speech. What are you? And nobody can judge you except yourself. Again, Christ says, judge not others. You can't. Why does he say that? Because you cannot. Why can't you judge another person? Because you ought to know what is the intention. In any aspect of life, it is always the intention that makes that person right or wrong, good or bad. And who will know it? Only that person. Nobody else will know it. So that is why each one to himself, herself. You owe it to yourself. Be true to yourself. So here is a person who falsely exhibits every aspect of his personality, which is not the truth. And who knows it? Only he knows it. But that is a low quality. Darpaha. Darpaha is arrogance. Again, an assumed superiority. You're proud of your status, your power, your achievement, your youth, your wealth. And the great Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya, in the Bhajagovindam, he says, be careful. Ma kuru dhanajana yavvana garvam. Do not take pride in these. Dhana means wealth. Wealth doesn't mean material wealth. It could be wealth of thoughts. You could be a very intellectual person, intelligent person. Take pride with that. Or your position, your status, your power. So that is wealth. Ma kuru. Do not take pride in dhana. Jana, following. People look up to you. They praise you. And you have this following. Any leader, even at home, there are people who look up to you, the breadwinner of the family. Or in office, you are the leader. They look up to you. Anywhere you find, if a person who leads, there are others who follow. Or just a popular person, a celebrity. If you're popular for something, people will follow you. Don't take pride in that. And youth. Youth means when you have the capacity. Don't take pride in that. Why? Any moment, any of these can go. And then you come crashing down. You don't know how to face it after that. See, we don't know, but the depression they go through. Remember yesterday we said how many people have ended their lives or go into depression. They can't face the world because they've lost what they enjoyed. So, darpaha is that arrogance when you have something. I think it was Abraham Lincoln, we'll try and find it for you, said, see, how to judge a person. It's not in adversity that you judge. He says, try and give power and see how the person functions. Then adversity, everybody is very virtuous, very careful. You got it? Yes. Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power. Then you know how the person changes. Completely. Overnight the person will change. But if you have character, you'll remain the same. There's no arrogance. You understand, you're just a human in an extraordinary state at the moment. Any moment it'll go. So don't rely on that. That doesn't mean you shy away. See, another extreme is to shy away from power, to shy away from a position you're given. Just be normal. You've got a position, use it to the best of your ability for the welfare of one and all, you included. And that is one of the most difficult things to do. See, as long as you don't have it, you're fine. But the moment you're put in the hot seat, then you know your real character. So that is arrogance. And then he says, abhimanaha, self-conceit. I don't have to, it's an exaggerated value of oneself. That is that self-conceit. Self-importance, a superiority. Now you could be superior, but you don't have to have a complex. You don't have to feel superior. You may be inferior. Nothing wrong with that. What is wrong with being either superior or inferior? It's your place. Nobody is big, nobody is small. See, one of the other books, I talked to you about symbolism of Hindu gods and rituals. Another very vital book is Select English Poems. Now this is a collection of poems that Swamiji made. Over 300 poems, he selected a few and put into this book. Anybody, any child can understand. But don't worry about the children, you start yourself. First you learn. And one of the poems in that book is entitled Mountain and the Squirrel by Emerson. It's a very simple, innocuous poem, but so deep the message. So there's a quarrel between a mountain and a squirrel. So the mountain was talking about how big it was and how small the squirrel is. And then towards the end of the poem, that is important. He says, talents differ. All is well and wisely put. If I can't carry forests on my back, neither can you crack a nut. So why do we have complexes? Somebody has to crack the nut. Somebody has to carry the forest. Let us respect each other. Man or woman, young or old, each one has a role to play. Let's play our roles to the best of our effort, respecting each other's positions. Then you don't fall into this category. It's not demoniac, you're divine. But people who have an exaggerated value, abhimanaha, self-conceit, and krodhaha comes from the basic desire. When you are desire-ridden, then and your desires that you have are intercepted, you get angry. So anybody who has a problem with temper or anger, trace it down to some desire that has been frustrated. So that is a quality of a demoniac. Also harshness, parushyam. Harshness comes when you crave for things and don't have it. So there's an inner frustration that you don't get what you want. So you can't be normal with people, because that frustration continues through your life, and out of that frustration you express as a harsh person. So all that you need to understand is that there is something that is suppressed in you. Attend to it. It's like a headache. When you have a headache, you take a pill. Now that only suppresses the symptoms. If it recurs, if it comes back and back, consult a doctor. Maybe there you got a tumor, maybe you've got something that needs to be attended to, which can be. If you merely down pills, you only suppress the symptoms, you don't eradicate it. Similarly, with this harshness is not a natural trait of a human being. It's an acquired, it's like a disease. You've got to attend to it. And ignorance, ajnanam. Ignorance of what? Ignorance of your true nature, which is divine. Your true self, your original stature is pure, divine, peaceful, blissful. This is the truth. Now you may say, I'm not peaceful, I'm not blissful, means you are ignorant of your own self. So when you stay with ignorance, you're only promoting something negative. So these are, even one of these is enough to destroy your peace, your bliss, and reduce you to the level, or rather, bring you below the level of human life. So if you want to live up to the dignity of a human, you ought to attend to these qualities and eradicate them. He continues.
Daivi sampad vimokshaya nibandhaya surimata ma shucha sampadam daivim abhijatosi pandava Daivi sampad vimokshaya nibandhaya surimata ma shucha sampadam daivim abhijatosi pandava.
The divine nature is deemed for liberation, the demoniac for bondage. Grieve not, you are born of the divine nature, O Pandava. So it's Krishna talking to Arjuna. Now Arjuna only represents the common man. So what actually is happening here is, it is addressing humanity. This verse says, you are made, means every human is made to be divine. That is your real nature. And the other, the negative qualities, is something we've acquired by wrong exposure, by ignorance. So we need to understand our true nature and get back to it. Now there's an interesting analysis. You understand, health is the original physical condition. See, when you're healthy, you feel normal, that's all. But when you contact disease, if the body is diseased, if it's not healthy, you don't feel normal. You need medication, you need treatment, otherwise you cannot continue. Do you all understand that? You don't understand? Ah, okay. Because you're all so quiet. I don't know if you're awake or asleep. Light is also not enough. So, health is your original physical condition. As long as you're healthy, you will not even feel it. But the moment you fall into disease, instantly you start feeling, my back is aching. Ouch, my neck is aching. It will not let you be comfortable. What? Anything other than health. In other words, what I'm trying to say is, you may complain about a backache or a headache or a stomach ache or a toothache or a stomach. You'll complain about it. But if you're healthy, you will never turn around and say, I have a big problem. What? I'm too healthy. Nobody, you don't even talk about it. You just feel normal. In a similar way, unless you get back to your divine nature, you will be complaining about something in life. Don't we all have a list of complaints? My life is okay, but if only that is set right. Believe me, this is just one problem I have in life. Otherwise, I'm fine. How much you believe that there is something outside of you that needs correction. And if that is set right, you're okay. So firm is that belief. Little do we suspect that any problem you have, any issue that you face, any agitation that you go through, anything negative, if you're not bubbling with joy and cheer and happiness and bliss, you are not in your original state. You're not in health. And it has nothing to do with the outside world. It has everything to do with yourself. John Maxwell. I'm trying to give you this. I don't know if Gita will work. But at least these thoughts will say, maybe you'll suspect. Otherwise you'll think this is tradition. I've come for Gita because once a year, 4 days, I will sacrifice my good life for this life. And you're doing us a favor by coming and sitting here. You know, it's your ticket to heaven. Many people believe at least 4 days somehow we will suffer and sit there and do some punya and go away. Then rest of the year is okay. It is something you need to help yourself. So, John Maxwell, let's see what he has to say. A man must be big enough to admit his mistakes, smart enough to profit from them, and strong enough to correct them. We are here in this classroom, not to criticize, not to blame ourselves, not to feel bad, but to understand none of us have reached perfection yet. But we have a choice to move towards perfection or away from it. Here is a chance for us to remind ourselves that as human beings, we ought to set the direction right in our lives. Let's ensure that we are moving towards perfection, because you will not stop. No human will stop till he reaches that divine state. You can go janma after janma, birth after birth, leading a life in this world, enamored by the world, conditioned by the world, carried away by the world, thrilled by the world, but you will never find satisfaction unless and until you move towards your divine nature. And he says, you are made so. You are meant to find your own divine nature as a human. Next.
द्वौ भूतसर्गौ लोकेऽस्मिन् दैव आसुर एव च दैवो विस्तरशः प्रोक्तः आसुरं पार्थ मे शृणु द्वौ भूतसर्गौ लोकेऽस्मिन् दैव आसुर एव च दैवो विस्तरशः प्रोक्तः आसुरं पार्थ मे शृणु.
The two created beings in this world are the divine and demoniac. The divine has been described in detail. Hear from me, O Partha, the demoniac. Now, some of you who are a little familiar with this philosophy may wonder, why is he saying only two types? Because there are three basic types of humans, or rather, thought textures amongst humans. See, each one is made up of something. It's not just your body. Body is just your outer expression. Who are you? There's something within you that makes you who you are. You're an expression of your own gunas or qualities. So gunas are of three types. I'll put it up on the screen for you. I'm sure most of you are familiar, but just to be on the same page, these three gunas are referred to as sattva, rajas, tamas. Have you heard of that? Sattva, rajas. Most of us are familiar. So sattva, you can say, is A grade. So rajas is B grade. Tamas is C grade. So these are the three qualities. And what's interesting is, no one is an exception. Every human is a necessary combination of all three. Everyone sitting here is a combination of three qualities. Not only in this classroom. Every human. African, American, Japanese, Chinese, Indian, anybody. Humans have these three gunas. Why is each person different and distinct from the other? There's no two persons. You could be similar, but not the same. See, all zebras are the same. All lions are the same. All cows are the same. They have the same qualities. You can't have a ferocious cow or a meek and mild tiger. Impossible. Not possible. So animals have a collective nature. They're all the same, like clones. The qualities. A cobra will be poisonous. You can't say this cobra is not at all poisonous. Don't try to go anywhere near, because they all have the same quality. But humans, even in a family, there may be two brothers, totally different. Two sisters, totally different. Brought up in the same family, by the same people, fed the same food, same habits, everything same. When they grow up, totally different people. No comparison. Why? Why is it so? Because of the combination of these three gunas. That's not the topic now, but I'm just mentioning. Now, since there are these three gunas, A grade is the sattvic guna, the highest quality, most refined quality in a human being, where you're calm, composed, serene, equanimous, contemplative, mature, graceful, smart, intelligent, dynamic. All those qualities put together, a thinker is the sattvic quality. Now when that falls, you become rajasic. This rajas picks up. Rajas is B grade. What do we mean by B grade is, you are active, you are functioning in this world, but with a lot of desires. Desires meaning, what's wrong with desires is, it's not desire, it's uncontrolled desire, where it dictates you. You are not able to control it. So again, Christ told Satan, "Get thee behind me, Satan." Remember the words of Christ when he was tempting him. When Satan was trying to tempt Christ, he said, "All that you see can be yours." He said, "Satan, get thee behind me. I shall have none at thy hands." Now, what does Satan represent? Desire. In fact, all religions you'll find there's a devil. Most religions, they highlight a devil character. Now, what is this devil character? Not somebody with two horns and a tail sitting in hell somewhere. That devil character is within you in the form of desire, uncontrolled. So when you control the desire, then there is no issue. But when the desire controls you, then you get into all sorts of problems and difficulties. So the rajasic fellow is controlled by the desire. So though he's active and progressive, maybe even successful, he pays a huge price for it. He's under stress, strain, worry, anxiety, restless all the time. Rajas. Now, the reason why they don't refer to tamasic, because that fellow is so indifferent. That quality in you is indifference, lethargy, laziness, heedlessness. Therefore, it is not addressed. So when he talks about the two created beings, he's addressing the higher qualities. When you work on sattva, you're fine. You're on the top. Rajas, there is a chance of converting it into sattva. But tamas, you got to take, it will take its own time to get out of your system. So you can't address it. And that is why there's only two described here. So the rajasic people and the sattvic people have this ability to change and move on this path. The tamasic have to put in a whole lot of effort. It's almost impossible. Because there's some people you try and you say, the fellow doesn't even react. He doesn't respond. I try so much. You're wasting your time, because he must be of the tamasic nature. He has to suffer in life. It can be your own, somebody you love very dearly. But if a person chooses to be tamasic, you can't do a thing. That's why the appeal is arise. Do something with your life. Don't fall back on tamas. Next verse.
Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha janana vidurasuraha न शौचं नापि चाचारः न सत्यं तेषु विद्यते प्रवृत्तिं च निवृत्तिं च जना न विदुरासुराः न शौचं नापि चाचारः न सत्यं तेषु विद्यते.
The demoniac people do not know action from inaction, also neither purity nor good conduct nor truth is found in them. So this part, with this verse, we are entering the second topic. I told you yesterday, the chapter is divided into topics. It is not found in the original text, so don't go back home and open the Gita and look for this summary. This is part of the work done by Swamiji, which makes it easy for anyone to understand the flow of thought in the chapter. Every chapter he has done this. So it's, if you get hold of Swamiji's commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, every chapter you will find a summary and then a synopsis of each topic. So if you read that, you can clearly understand the flow of thought in the chapter. And each chapter has a special message which you can use in your day-to-day life. Now we're talking about these qualities. What's the difficulty in understanding and applying it in your life? So here, from the 7th verse right up to the 15th, he's talking about that negative nature and conduct. How do you behave? How does a person with negative qualities behave in the world? So he says here, first thing, they don't know action from inaction, meaning what is to be done, what is ought not to be done. You're not clear about that. See, your whole success in life will depend on the choices that you make, what you take up, what you avoid. That is very important, that choice you make in success, in any endeavor, whether it's your business, your profession, or your relationships, everywhere. What do you do? What do you avoid? That makes all the difference in your life. So he says here, the choice is wrong. And when the choice is wrong, how do you know the choice is wrong? You suffer. You are agitated. You are restless. That's how you make out. You know that the choice that you have made is wrong. So there are categories of people. Have you heard of the famous play by Shakespeare, King Lear? You know what happened to him? King Lear, and when he was 80, he wanted to divide the kingdom. He had 3 daughters. And he had to make a choice. So he said he will divide according to what the daughters had to say about him. So he had given them opportunity to talk about what they felt about their father. The first 2 sisters were the vicious ones. And they were all praised for the father. Oh, father, you're the best, you're this, you're that. They were poetry and all sorts of expressions of their love and affection for the father. And when it came to the 3rd daughter, who was the sincere daughter, Cordelia, said, what have you got to say? And she knew all the while the other 2 sisters were putting on a big act. They had no respect, no love for the father. They were only vying for the property, the kingdom. That's all they wanted. They wanted the power. They wanted the wealth. So they would do anything. They would stoop to any level to do it. And she was boiling because she knew the truth. But she couldn't express it. So when the father asked her, what have you got to say? She said, nothing. The father was annoyed. What do you mean, nothing? Nothing? Nothing comes from nothing. And the story goes that he banished her. And later, the king found out the truth of his choice. Both the daughters rejected the father. They did not even give him basic needs because they had the wealth, they had the power now. They could do anything. And it was the last daughter who was married off. She had gone to France, out of England, and who came back to help him. But it was a tragedy because there are nothing but a heap of dead bodies in the end of the play. One wrong choice. Now, why does Shakespeare make it so dramatic? to let us know that if you so much as make one wrong choice, there could be a heap of dead bodies. It's drama. They may not be dead bodies, but you would be agitated. That much you can accommodate. So, in other words, if you are agitated, worried, anxious, restless, don't look at the world. Look at the choices that you have made. Turn within and find out, what am I doing? What clarity do I have? Do I understand things? Do I not understand things? Am I making mistakes on a day-to-day basis? Now, when we say that, don't go home this evening and say, well, your wife very lovingly makes some dinner. I don't know if I'm making the right choice in eating. It may affect my life. Don't go into depression, because that lady will come and they'll be worried. Why do you go to Gita class? That's why we say don't go for Gita. It does strange things to you. So don't take it to a point of absurdity and ruin the whole message. All that he's saying is, don't take yourself for granted. And none of us are in a state of perfection. So you should be interested in learning and understanding these truths of life better. Okay? So this person has no idea what to do, what not to do. And then there is no purity. When he talks about purity in your conduct, so we are talking about physical discipline in thought, word and deed. How do you talk? How do you think? How do you speak? There is no purity in your expression, physical discipline. Then na acharaha, no good conduct. He is referring to your inner being that expresses itself as your conduct. So what are your inner thoughts? Are you arrogant? Are you disrespectful? Are you harsh? Are you vulgar? What is it? What are you encouraging within you? It's a mental discipline. This person has no mental discipline, no physical discipline, no mental discipline. And no truth is an intellectual discipline where you have an ideal in life, where you have a conviction in life, where you have clarity of these values. This person has no such conviction, no ideal, no truths that he follows, no values, so there is no intellectual discipline either. Such is the life of a demoniac person.
असत्यम प्रतिष्ठं ते जगदाहुरनीश्वरम् अपरस्परसम्भूतं किमन्यत् कामहैतुकम् असत्यम प्रतिष्ठं ते जगदाहुरनीश्वरम् अपरस्परसम्भूतं किमन्यत् कामहैतुकम्.
They say, the demoniac, the negative people, they say, the world is without reality, satyam, without foundation, pratishtham, without Lord, Ishvara, born of mutual union caused by lust. What else? So what is this world of people, of beings? How did this world come? Two people get together, produce another, and that is how the population is increasing. Amongst human beings, amongst other creatures, this is all. It all started with Noah's Ark, the two of each species were let loose in this world. And then it started developing, that's all. What more do you want to know about world? What reality, what God, what Ishvara? There's nothing like that. It's just we have created the world, we live in this world and we are everything. They are so sure that they know everything. There's nothing. What? Gita and all, some fellow sometime wrote and all are goats following this. Religious people, spiritual people, no meaning. Just go out in the world and enjoy it. That's all. Make money and enjoy life. That's it. What more is there? So sure. They have no vision of anything beyond their regular, routine, mundane existence. Wake up in the morning, ask yourself, ask anybody, or watch. What do people do? First thing in the morning, wake up. Okay, everybody has to wake up. Then what? Then a cup of tea or coffee. You wake up in the morning and say, chai. You know, some people have that. Till the chai comes into the system, there's no waking up. You ask for it. So there's something. And then if it is chai, then newspaper. I don't know what your priorities are. Either you must talk to somebody or read something, or chai has to go in, or the television, or something starts the day. Okay, then what? Then of course we have to, children are there, okay, as long as the children are small, children, all the time it is children, they have to get ready, they have to get ready, they have to get ready. Tension in the house. Why? Children have to go to school. Why should there be tension? I don't know. But there will be tension. Then when the children are grown up, are you free? No, then the husband and wife, they have tension between themselves. Servants have not come. You know, these days it's terrible. I can't do this, I'm dependent on people. That becomes tension. So somehow you kick-start your day, and through the day, if you are a working person, you go to office, you have to do whatever, face the day at office and work and all that you manage, and then come back home, either early or late. And depending on when you come, the family is happy or unhappy. If you come back early, family is unhappy. The fellows come back early today. I thought, how come you're back so early? They ask. Not out of pleasure, they're worried. Because they have to face you for that many more hours, you know. So anyway, you come home early or late, and then what happens? Then again the ritual starts. What is that? You have to have your dinner and television and talking and what happened and what did not happen, and then fall asleep. What happens next? Wake up in the morning. Start all over again. Same thing we are going through for years and years and years. Nobody understands. Any moment, anything can happen to anybody. Have you ever thought, what am I doing with my time now? What are you doing? Okay, you've made a lot of money. You're successful. You have achieved something. All that you've done. I'm taking care of my family. I love my family. My children are everything to me. All that is fine. When you go, do you take any of these? I'm not trying to depress you. I'm trying to make you see facts of life. See, these guys are convinced there's nothing more. But some of us should start thinking, all that you're doing in life, you please continue. Nobody can stop you. You ought not to stop. That is fine. In and through whatever you're doing, you must think, what is that one thing that will make my life worth living? It is the knowledge or ignorance that you court this lifetime. That will accompany you. Not your name, not your fame, not your money. Don't even think about it. Others are waiting for you to go to take your money. You don't know that. So it's not your wealth. You can't take it with you. Not your family members. Don't even look at your family members. Dear, will you come with me when I go? Then they say, don't talk Ashubham. That's all they'll say. Because they can't give you an answer. It's all that speech is when you're alive. You know, you're my life. I will be with you till death do us apart, and all that talk is there. But when you go alone. So the only thing that will accompany you and stay with you is one of two: knowledge, ignorance. The choice is yours. So these people don't understand anything beyond what they see. They don't understand there is a truth, there is a reality, and as a human alone, you have the capacity to seek the truth and find the truth. And what's more, until you do that, you will not find happiness. You can be the richest man in the world, you'll be miserable. It's not that we are cursing, please. See, it's like this. If you are ordinary person, you are in an iron cage, bound. By what? All sorts of challenges. If you have made it big in life, you promote yourself into a golden cage. But it's a cage. And if you do the best in the world, you perhaps live in a diamond cage. But the cage is the same. How does it keep you free? It doesn't make you a free person. And here is a philosophy that brings you that freedom, that liberation, when you know the highest truth and become that truth. Continues.
एतां दृष्टिमवष्टभ्य नष्टात्मानोऽल्पबुद्धयः प्रभवन्त्युग्रकर्माणः क्षयाय जगतो हिताः एतां दृष्टिमवष्टभ्य नष्टात्मानोऽल्पबुद्धयः प्रभवन्त्युग्रकर्माणः क्षयाय जगतो हिताः.
Holding this view, the ruined souls of small intellect, of fierce deeds, come forth as enemies for the destruction of the world. So now he's saying, holding this view, meaning a limited view, a superficial view. Of course, there are things that are happening at a superficial level, but there's something far more deep that we need to know and that we can know. So when you hold yourself with this limited view, the ruined souls of small intellect. When he says, Alpa Buddhayaha, you don't think, oh, it's a small intellect. It means a colossal fool. It's a refined way of saying, what a fool, what a fool. We said, Mahati Vinashtihi. In that sense, he says, of small intellect, meaning he's the biggest fool on earth. And that could be each one of us. Like I said, we don't understand. We don't understand that we don't know. Mark Twain, again, he puts it in a different way. He says, it ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It ain't what, he's American, it ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. You're so sure, but that's not the truth. And that's the malady of a negative person, a demoniac person, who believes he knows. I think it was trying to give you all this, because if this doesn't work, at least that might work. Alvin Toffler, Thomas Zars, I'm not sure, one of them. He says, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, because we all can read and write, and yet we could be illiterate. But he says, it's those who cannot learn, Alvin Toffler, those who cannot learn, unlearn and relearn. You will remain an illiterate though you have a degree, you have a job, you have a business, you have a profession. You will still be an illiterate if you don't prepare yourself to learn, unlearn and relearn. You must keep your mind open. That doesn't mean you change. There are people, they are called spiritual tourists. Any lecture anywhere, they must go. So you attend everything and know nothing. It's like Omar Khayyam says, we talked about and about. You walk out of the same door you came in. Nothing stays with you. You go to, it's like visiting all the gymnasiums in the city. And what? Unfit you are. Why? Because you have not put in any effort. By visiting these places, what do you think will happen to you? Nothing. Now, even if you go to a spiritual place, you can go to all the spiritual centers, you will remain the most unspiritual person. Why? Because you have not worked on yourself. Negativities you have, imperfections you have, that you camouflage. It's like putting the dust under the carpet and covering it up. When are you going to attend to that? If you attend to that now, you don't have to go anywhere. Here and now you will find the truth. You don't have to sell your personalities to anybody or anything, but be true to yourself. So here is a person who has a small, doesn't have an intellect, and deeds are fierce, meaning they're self-destructive. And such people not only destroy themselves, they destroy others around. Destroy in the sense, create disharmony. Create problems for others. So sometimes you say, oh my God, this fellow, why doesn't he keep to himself? His presence itself is annoying. Why do you feel that? Because he's of a negative nature. So when you are negative, not only do you harm yourself, hurt yourself, you bring that unpleasantness around you. That is the nature of a demoniac. One more.
Kamamashritya dushpuram dambhamanamadanvitaha mohad grihitva sadgrahan pravartante shuchivrataha kamamashritya dushpuram dambhamanamadanvitaha mohad grihitva sadgrahan pravartante shuchivrataha.
Abiding in insatiable desire, overpowered by hypocrisy, pride and arrogance, gripped by evil ideas through delusion, confusion, they work with impure resolve. Impure resolve means selfish intention. Pure is selfless, impure is selfish. That's the difference. And resolve is intention. Remember I said, in anything, it is the intention that is important. Otherwise, that determining factor changes everything. So here is a person who's kamam dushpuram, meaning insatiable desire. See, there is a term that is used in modern context, it is used. It's called pleonexia. I don't know if anybody's heard of that. I'm not trying to impress you with words, but I happen to find it. And my duty is to share. That's what I'm supposed to do. Pleonexia, do we have it? Just to give you an idea, don't have to take notes, but just to let you know, it's not only Bhagavad Gita. Again, I'm trying to let you know this is what is happening in the world. But we choose to ignore it. So pleonexia is greed, avarice. Don't worry if you can't read it. I'll read it out for you. It's a Greek word. Corresponds to greed, avarice, covetousness, wanting to get another's wealth. An insatiable desire, exact words, an insatiable desire to have what belongs to others. A ruthless self-seeking and an arrogant assumption that others and things exist for one's benefit. See, this is a feeling. When he talks about insatiable desire, you'll just pass it. Arey, kuch desire hai, chalo yaar, let's see something else. You ignore it. But he's saying when you have this insatiable desire, it is destroying you. It's eating you up. You don't understand that. That is why desire is personified in all religions as the devil. And there's another condition, affluenza, a social condition arising from the desire to be more wealthy. Nothing wrong with wealth. Like I said, we had Raja Rishis. So it's not wealth, it's your slavish attitude towards wealth. That is what finishes you off. Wealth is meant for humans. No animal can become wealthy. It's a human that can become wealthy. But what is the value you give it? That's what he's talking about. A social condition arising from the desire to be more wealthy, successful, or to keep up with the Joneses. Symptomatic of a culture that holds up financial success as one of the highest achievements. People affected by affluenza find that the very economic success that they have been so vigorously chasing ends up leaving them feeling unfulfilled and wishing for yet more wealth. I don't have to get into the definition. I'm only trying to prove to you that this is the words that are used in the Western world. In fact, there are books written, it's called the Impulse Society. You don't have to go through voluminous books, but the same idea is given in one verse. That's the potency of this subject. So all that he's saying is, you can forget about what we discussed, but remember that this condition where you give an exaggerated value for what you seek in the world totally ignoring that there is something higher to be sought as a human, that will destroy your peace of mind. Nothing in the world can ever touch you except the wrong focus that we have on values. So abiding, here's a person who follows his desires and he feeds his desires throughout his life. That's all he's doing. Overpowered by hypocrisy, he develops pretentiousness, dhambaha. You pretend and act different from your nature. And then manaha, show of superiority. Madaha, arrogant towards those who have less than you, which is another quality. One is arrogance, other is envy towards those who have more, arrogant towards those who have less. This is a typical of an asuric quality. And then he says, gripped by evil ideas through delusion. So all your wrong ideas come from confusion of values, and then such a person works with selfish intention. So all the time wanting to destroy the other and come up. Destroy the other and come up. That is the way an asuric functions. We'll be discussing more, like I said, right up to the 15th verse. He talks about this conduct and behavior. And then he says later, in the third part, he says how these people can never be happy. They go sinking into the lowest hell, means agitated. They get more and more agitated. And then finally he says, it's the divine. The people who have set the right direction find peace now in life and will find that ultimate peace of self-realization when they reach the ultimate goal. Thank you. Meet tomorrow.